It's just after 3 p.m. in a fourth-grade classroom in Melbourne. The bell has rung, the last student has left, and the teacher, still standing, realizes she hasn't sat down in almost 7 hours. Her lunch? Uneaten. Her water bottle? Still full. She leans over to tidy up worksheets, winces, and rubs the back of her neck. There's a dull ache in her spine, her throat feels sore, and her smartwatch buzzes to remind her to breathe. Across the world, a similar moment is unfolding in a staff room in Chicago. A high school guidance counselor stares at her computer screen, trying to process how to support a student who reported suicidal thoughts before second period. She's emotionally exhausted, but she knows she has to be ready for tomorrow. The job doesn't pause for recovery. And in Tokyo, a university professor clicks through student submissions while a cleaning crew sweeps around his desk. His eyes burn from grading late into the night. The clock says 11:42 p.m. He shrugs, finishes one last comment, and packs up in silence. These are not isolated scenes. They are echoes of a profession where safety doesn't always look like hard hats and high-vis vests, but where the risks are just as real. Because when we talk about safety observations, we often think of slippery floors and exposed wires. But in schools, universities, and classrooms around the world, some of the most critical risks are quiet, cumulative, and deeply human. Overexertion, psychological strain, aggression, ergonomic injury, burnout. Teaching is often called a calling, but that doesn't mean it's immune to hazards. In this episode of What to Watch For, we're focusing on the safety of educators and educational professionals. From early childhood educators to college instructors, from librarians to special needs aides, we're taking a closer look at the risks they face every day, and what we should all be observing to keep them safe, respected, and supported. Let's begin with an incident shared by Sean, a former instructor at Parkland College in Yorkton, Saskatchewan. During a class session, a student suddenly fainted, slumping in his chair before collapsing backward. His head hit the concrete tile floor with a sickening thud. The room fell silent. Sean, trained as an emergency medical responder, immediately rushed to the student's side. He assessed the situation using the SAMPLE acronym, a standard emergency assessment tool. The student was pale, sweating, and disoriented. After a few tense minutes, he regained full consciousness and admitted he hadn't eaten that day. Later, Sean learned from another student that the young man was known to use recreational drugs, adding further complexity to the risk profile. On another occasion, Sean witnessed a student fall backward while tilting their chair during a lecture. The chair tipped, sending the student crashing into a desk behind them. A small abrasion appeared on the back of their head. Thankfully, it wasn't serious, but the moment underscored how quickly routine classroom behavior can lead to injury, and how teachers need to observe more than just academic progress. It was a powerful reminder that educators often become first responders without warning and without backup. These moments are more common than we think. According to data from the U.S. National Center for Education Statistics, public school teachers experience injury rates from violent incidents at more than double the rate of private industry workers. And yet, the emotional toll of non-violent incidents, like near misses, medical emergencies, and behavior-related accidents, often goes unreported and unsupported. Consider the case of a secondary school teacher in London who was assaulted by a student after intervening in a hallway altercation. The teacher was punched in the face, suffering a concussion and severe emotional trauma. Despite filing a report, she received no follow-up support or mental health care. She returned to work the following week, still shaken, still expected to perform. In Finland, a primary school teacher developed chronic tendinitis from years of repetitive board writing and tablet grading. In Australia, a veteran educator tore her meniscus after tripping on a raised tile while rushing between classrooms. In Ontario, a post-secondary instructor reported losing mobility in her shoulder from years of marking assignments at a poorly designed desk with no ergonomic adjustments. The risks are everywhere, even in the air. In New Delhi, a flu outbreak swept through a school in 2023, affecting more than 40% of staff and students in less than a week. A norovirus incident in a Boston daycare required a full closure and deep sanitation. And in New Zealand, a measles scare at a primary school left multiple teachers exposed before health officials confirmed containment. Then there's the quiet, creeping threat of emotional labor. A university lecturer in British Columbia broke down after weeks of supporting a suicidal student without any institutional support or mental health resources. She admitted to crying alone in her car each day after class. In Tokyo, a professor confessed that he hadn't taken a full weekend off in over a year, afraid of falling behind on grading and research expectations. Worldwide, the data reflects this struggle. In the United States, more than 45% of new teachers report experiencing burnout within their first 5 years on the job. In the United Kingdom, a recent study revealed that 61% of teachers suffer from stress-related physical symptoms, highlighting just how deeply emotional strain can manifest in the body. In Australia, absenteeism caused by workplace stress in the education sector has increased by 23% over the last 5 years. Meanwhile, both Finnish and Canadian educators have reported significant rises in psychological injury claims, particularly following the pressures and long-term impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. These aren't isolated numbers. They represent a widespread and growing concern within the global education system. To all the educators out there, teachers, aides, counselors, professors, you carry more than books and lesson plans. You carry the weight of 1,000 tiny decisions, emergencies, and moments that most people never see, and we see you. Have you ever faced a situation in your school where you had to step in before help could arrive? Maybe you've spotted a hazard no one else noticed, or stayed after hours to debrief with a shaken student. These are the acts that define real safety culture in education. We want to hear from you. What are the unseen moments that deserve more attention? What's one thing you've done, or wish had been done, to make your learning environment safer? Drop your story in the comments. Subscribe to Safety Smart HQ for more real-world safety observations across every profession. Because shared stories spark awareness, and awareness saves lives. And if no one's told you this today, thank you for showing up. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard.